My name is Tavis Brathwaite. When I was in 8th grade, I had a teacher refer to me as a yard ape. I'm not sure if you know what that means, but in that moment, I didn't even know what it meant. I went home, told my parents, did some research on it, pretty quickly found out what it was. Definitely was one of those things that just made me feel insecure about my skin color for the rest of my life. To this day, I still remember that. You know, walking around in the shade of brown is definitely not easy. And just thinking about that specific moment, I just felt like I wasn't enough. I questioned, why I had to be brown. And I still questioned about like the history behind, where terminologies came from like that.
I was in the Target just down the street. It was in high school. This man and woman were driving in their car and they rolled down the window because I guess I ran from their car. Don't really remember how I crossed the street, honestly. And they rolled down their window and said, "Hey, get out the way, cotton picking boy." And I remember in that moment, I didn't react. I just kept walking. Later that day, I realized what they had said. I truly, understood what it meant, and it made me feel like I wasn't human. It made me feel more of an object.
I remember one experience specifically when I was in college. I had asked around about churches that I wanted to attend, and one of the girls in my class had said, "Hey, my dad's a pastor, come to church with us on Sunday." So she told me to meet her at a certain spot that Sunday morning, and I would just drive and follow her to church. And we did this for weeks on end. Eventually I said, "Hey, Cherie, you don't have to meet me Sunday morning. I know how to get to church." And she said, "No." And I said, "Well, why not?" And she paused, and she said, "Because at the other end of the street is the KKK." I think it's gonna bother me that much. Yeah, so she told me that the KKK lives down at the other end of that street. They wanted to make sure I got to church safely. And so I thought about that conversation for days on end, because I realized all the places that I had went before, not even knowing that was ever an issue that I would have to worry about.
I was headed to the beach, probably back in 2014 or 2015. I drove to Isle of Palms and got there, ready, all excited, getting my gear out of the car, and all of a sudden, there was two white guys in a truck, and they said, "Nick," and yelled "Nick" at me, and I'm like, I was hurt, angry, and I just couldn't believe that happened to me in 2015, 2014. You think that's from the past. You never think that would happen to you this day and time. So I tried to get my composure, still in awe of what just happened to me. I could not believe that happened to me.
Definitely was super demeaning and hurt my self-confidence so much.
It made me feel ashamed to be black, scared to be black, honestly, because I was worried of what I'd be called next.
I think that was the first time in my young adult life that I had to face the fact that hatred and racism existed.
Racism is real. It is, and you would think it's a part of our past, but it's also in the present.
Racism is still alive. It's wrong, and it needs to stop.